Hi, this is Kathryn from the Otis Library, and today I want you to imagine that you are in a different universe, and it's up to you to survive. Luckily, you will be learning how to create a unique defense shield to protect you from anything that comes your way. Perhaps your shield disintegrates molten rain on a distant planet, or perhaps it deters dangerous deep-sea beasts. Maybe it annoys angry insects so they fly away, or evaporates your least favorite mealtime foods. Whatever your most disliked or dangerous foes may be, it's time to use your art and design skills to come up with a way to defeat them. Now, let's take a look at our supplies. For supplies, you will need, from home, a pencil, an eraser, a dark colored marker, and age-appropriate pair of scissors. In your kit, you will have received 9 rectangular sheets of colored construction paper with a hole punched at one end, 9 rectangular sheets of metallic gold paper with a hole cut at one end, 6 small construction paper circles, 1 larger construction paper circle, 1 large black tagboard circle, 1 small black tagboard circle, 1 glue stick, and 1 large metal brad, which is this object right here. Excellent, let's get started. Our first step in creating our fantasy defense shield design is to draw and cut a shape that will repeat itself around the shield in a circle. This shape will radiate out like sunbeams from the center, or like the spokes of a bicycle wheel. This is called a radial design. In this radial design in my example, the shape I drew looks like the tail of a sea serpent. In my other example, the shape I drew looks like an unhappy rabbit. Whatever shape you draw, it's going to end up being symmetrical, meaning it's the same on both sides. Watch while I show you how to make a long, symmetrical shape. To begin, fold each rectangular sheet of colored construction paper in half the long way, or sometimes called the hot dog way, so that the final folded piece of paper is longer than it is tall. So we're going to go like this and get this folded so that we have a long, thin piece of paper. There we go. Excellent. When this is complete, select one of the 9 pieces of paper that you will have folded and place it on the table in the vertical orientation. So it's going to be going this way, and we want that hole punch to be at the bottom. So we're going to lay it just like this. Folded edge and hole to one side and open edge on the other side. And what we're going to do next is we're going to use our pencil to draw a line that begins at the bottom open edge at this corner that opens like a book. And then we're going to end the line all the way up here, somewhere along this top edge. It can be all the way at that corner, or all the way at that corner, or somewhere in the middle. But it can't end all the way down here or down here. It's got to end way up here because we're trying to make a long shape. So my line's going to start down here, and in the middle it can do whatever you like it to do. So I'm making some scoop shapes. I'm going to make some rounded shapes. I think I'll do this kind of, I don't know what to call that, tower shape. And I'm going to end like that. Okay, so that's my line. And the next step is that I'm going to cut on this line through both pieces of paper. So remember, this is folded in half. So I'm going to cut through both pieces of paper at the same time using my scissors. And I'm going to give you a few little tips along the way. So watch what I'm doing. I'm cutting this first curve. Okay, no problem. Now on this big one, I'm going to show you that it's easier to cut by moving your paper around than by moving your scissors around, because that can sometimes be dangerous if you get too close to your other hand, or also because it's hard to cut in this direction and in that direction with your wrist bent around. So if you just take your scissors and you hold them forward, like you're just going to cut a straight line forward, but then you move the paper while you're cutting. Watch what I'm doing. Then you can get a really nice sharp looking curve like that. Now I did not do a perfect job on the line, but let's try again. So I'm going to turn the paper, not the scissors, like that. And now I've got a notch. So let me explain to you how you can make your life easier on cutting a notch. So I've cut in from one direction, and rather than having my scissors stuck in here and trying to wrench my arm around to cut in the other direction, I'm going to remove my scissors, turn the page around, and then cut into that notch from the opposite direction, like that. And see how it lifts just out, just like that. Okay, another curve. So let's see if I can get right in the line this time. And I'm going to turn that paper. Cool. All right, and then the one thing that you don't want to do when you draw this line, there is one issue that won't work. If you make a curly cue, like loop-de-loops, when you draw your pencil line, that's going to be difficult because those loop-de-loops are going to fall off when you cut your piece apart. Okay, so now our piece is cut and we're going to open it up. Okay, awesome. Now that is a symmetrical shape because that shape is the same on the left half as it is on the right half. Okay, so that is symmetrical. And now that we've completed that and our hole is still right at the bottom, let's go on to our next step. Step 2. So our next step is to trace the shield shape onto the colored construction paper pieces. So now that this shape is complete, we need to replicate the shape so that we can fan it out to defend us from harm all the way around our shield. Keep this shield shape folded in half, just like this, and then using one of the pieces of paper that you've already folded in half, you're going to sandwich the two together. So let's see that again. So this one's folded in half, and this one is also folded in half, and then we're going to put both the folded ends together with the cut shape on the outside. And then we're going to line up the holes down at the bottom. It's okay if it doesn't line up perfectly at the top, but it does have to line up down at the base where the holes are. So that's really important. Okay, so now we're going to trace. This is going to make it easy for us to trace this shape onto the new piece of folded paper. So using our pencil, we can begin where we started the shape the last time and just go around that shape carefully, keeping some pressure down on the paper so that it's not moving around or sliding around on us while we're tracing. Until that whole shape has been outlined. There. And then you can remove the completed shield shape, and we're going to cut again on that draw line just like we did the last time. So we're going to cut this shape out, and we're going to complete this process for 6 shapes. Now I gave you 9 pieces of colored construction paper. that is rectangular with a hole punched at the bottom. You only need 6 finished shapes. So there's 3 extra in case of a mishap, or if you don't like something, how it turns out, you're going to have 3 extra. So you only need to make 6 good ones. There we go. Okay, we're just about there. And while you're working, I think it's an excellent time to be thinking about what power these pieces of your shield will possess. So what is this piece's special power? How does it help you in the world that you have imagined? Does it transform an angry beast into something friendly? Or does it turn soil into drinking water? Or maybe it heals sunburns and poison ivy? This one looks like it could heal poison ivy to me. Okay, so while you're cutting and tracing your shapes, be thinking about what it is that they do. Step 3. So in this step, we're going to trace and cut all of our metallic gold shapes for our shield. So now that we have cut all the construction paper shapes out of the colored construction paper, we're going to take one of these shapes and place it on top of the metallic gold paper and trace it. Now we're going to put the metallic gold paper side down and hold this vertically, just like we did for our colored construction paper. We're going to line up these 2 holes. And when the hole punches are lined up, we're going to trace, this time we're going to trace the full perimeter of the shape. So not just half of it. We're going to trace the whole thing. And again, you're going to want to press down on the colored construction paper so that it's not sliding around while you are doing this. There we go. Okay, just about there. And when we're all done tracing this shape, we are going to cut it out with our scissors. And this is where those little tips I was telling you about are really going to help, because this time we have to cut both sides of the shape. So we're going to go ahead and remember, turn the paper more than you turn the scissors. And so you just want to be sure that when you're doing the tracing, that you have the shiny side of that gold metallic paper down, so this brown side will be facing up towards you so that you can see your pencil marks very well. And you're just going to keep at this until you've got 6 good shapes. Now, once again, I have included 9 pieces of paper that are gold colored for your project here, and you only need 6. So that's just in case there's any problems along the way. So just go ahead and get started. And when you've completed 6, you can stop. And also, while you're working, I want you to be thinking about what power these metallic shapes might possess for your special shield. So I decided that my green shapes, they're going to protect not only against poison ivy, but they're going to protect against all poisonous plants in the new universe. So that is super exciting. Now my gold piece, it's the same shape, but it's made out of something different. So I'm still thinking about what my gold piece might actually do to protect me. Step 4, other shapes, extra powers. So I've completed my gold shield shapes, all 6 of them. And these shapes I've decided will have an opposite power of the healing power of the green shapes. So these green shapes can heal from poisonous plants, And instead of being involved with poisonous or dangerous plants, my gold shapes actually attract plants that are nutritious, so things you can eat. Now for a third shape, I've got some little circles in a different color than my larger shape. This kind of lime green color circle is different because this allows me to have the power to help others. So while I glue these down, and I can choose any place on either my colored construction paper shape or on my gold shape to place these small circles, I can be thinking about how they help others or protect others, like my friends or family members. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one down. Let's see here. So as I'm going down this small circle, I'm thinking about what it can do in terms of protection for people other than myself. Okay, step 6. That's going to be assembling the shield. Now before we do that, I want to explain to you where I'm at with my special shield powers. So I've got all my green dots, my light lime green dots, glued down to my green shield shapes. And I've decided that these dots, I kind of lucked out because there's 6 dots and each of you will have 6 in your kit. And you can either put them on the gold shapes or on the larger colored shapes. But I have 6 people in my family. So I decided that each one of these dots will protect a certain family member. And not only will it protect them, but it will keep us connected with each other so that even when we're apart, which we are often apart, we will be able to communicate with each other and not feel that we are distant from each other and not be lonely and missing one another. So that will be pretty cool. So now that we know what all 3 powers are for our different aspects of our shield, we're ready to put everything together. So the first step is you've got to find the large colored construction paper circle, which is going to match in color the smaller ones. And then you want to find that little metal brad that I spoke with you about. So this guy right here, we're going to start by using that. So we're going to push this brad right through the center of that colored construction paper circle. And then we're going to start pushing it through the black tagboard circle. So that's the next one that we're going to put it through. Just like that. And next we're going to do all of our pieces, and we're going to do them by alternating gold and then colored. So gold piece first, and then we're going to thread a colored piece on next. Just like that, right over the post there. And it might be tempting, but try not to bend this post around too much, because if you start bending it around, it could break. And you don't want that to happen. So just leave it nice and straight until the very end. We'll bend it over. Okay, so we're doing another gold one. And then another green one. And you can be doing this along with me. So just keep right along, alternating colors. And if you make a mistake, no problem. You can just take them right off and get it back in order. All right, so we're pretty close here. And the last thing that we're going to put on after all of our shield shapes is that large black circle. So let's see here. We're almost there. Okay, now that I have all of my shield shapes, both gold and colored, threaded onto my brad, I'm going to thread everything through the final piece, which is this large black tagboard circle. And I've already cut a small X through the center to make this easy for you, just like with the other 2 circles. So I'm going to push this brad right through the center of that circle. And then, this is the fun part, now I get to pull these two tabs apart and flatten them. And you'll put some pressure down, get them nice and flat so that this stays tight together. And then flip it over. Okay, so now our next step is to fan out our shapes. So we've got a green one here, and we're gonna have a gold one next. Next will be a green one. They may get a little disorganized looking, but you can always slide them to be back into the alternating order that you want them in. And then we're gonna glue them down. So here we go. Green, and then gold. And we're just going to keep fussing with it, and as soon as it's just perfect, it's just right, the way we like it, then we're going to use our glue stick and just peel each piece back and gently glue it down. All right, so we're just about there. Okay, and now I'm going to glue each of these shapes down. And I'll do that, like I said, by peeling each one back carefully. So I'll start with this gold one here. I'm going to peel it back, and I'm just going to put a strip of glue behind it. Place it down and press. Finally, we've got the shield together. So with everything glued down, there's one optional step left. With your dark colored marker, you can choose to add some design elements, some shapes, squiggles, letters, to each of the colored construction paper shapes, and also around the center circle if you wish. I'm going to add some circles to my design here. And I like these circles because they look a little bit like a rivet, which is something that holds pieces of metal together. So I'm going to add some of those as a pattern around the center circle here on my shield. And also I'm going to add a symbol, and the symbol that I add is going to be sort of like my initial, the first letter of my first name, but I'm going to change it up just a little bit, and that's just going to be a design element on the shield. Okay, so I've got my little rivets on there, and that last thing I'm going to do is add the letter K for Kathryn, but I'm going to make it a little bit different. I'm going to make it kind of small, and I'm going to make it sideways like that. Oops. So that it's a little more like a design. Just like that. And I'm just doing that just on the green ones because it'll show up nice. And that just kind of makes it unique. Excellent. Now our shields are complete. Our radiating fantasy defense shield is complete. Be sure to hang your shield in an obvious place so that you can be reminded of the power it possesses to help you and others be safe from harm. Thank you for joining me, and stop back soon for more arts programming with the Otis Library.